So it was his refuge, running away from the idlers of South Turkey. Information. We have a rule of thumb. The Quran does not mention a lot of names. Only one lady is mentioned in the Quran, Maryam alayhi salam, and not any of the Prophet alayhi salam wives. Only one Sahabi is mentioned in the Quran. Maryam alayhi salam was mentioned to emphasize that Isa is the son of Maryam. Isa is not a son of Joseph the carpenter, as the Christian says. Of course, he's genealogically he's not belonging to Joseph, but they want him to be the adopted son of Joseph, so that he got the lineage of Dawood alayhi salam, to be the Messiah. This is the understanding of the Christians, but the Muslim rejects that and said that custodian of Maryam is Zakaria. That's why Maryam's name was mentioned in the Quran. Why, and what's other names mentioned in the Quran of the Sahaba? Zayd. Why Zayd? Because so that the Prophet can marry his wife, because he's an adopted son. So the Quran should specify his name to make it very clear that about whom we are talking. But what's the importance of mentioning the names of the wives of Ibrahim? It's not mentioned. Sarah even her name is not mentioned. The name is not mentioned. Lahikat. But she smiled. When she smiled, and we enunciate her of coming of Ishaq. So even the wives of Ibrahim are not mentioned in the Quran. So from where we got our information? In the Hadith, the scholars of the Hadith, also there is a Hadith saying that the stories of don't believe the stories of the people of the book and don't deny them. So treat them as information, not part of your religion, not part of your iman. Accept them if they don't contradict with your iman, if they don't contradict with your Quran and your Hadith. For example, Isa was born in Bethlehem. All right, no problem. It won't affect our belief. But Isa was crucified? No, because we have a very clear statement in the Quran. He was not being crucified. So in the Quran it's mentioned that Ibrahim alayhi salam was saved so we are sure 100% that Ibrahim alayhi salam was saved to Palestine. There's no doubt. But where exactly? Now we need to look for other sources. Archaeology, no mention in the history, because it's before the writings, before the history was written. We speak about 4,000 years ago. At that time, there's no like documentation at the time of Ibrahim. So we need to look for other sources that supports the Quran, the mention that Ibrahim was here. So in the Torah, in the Old Testament, it is mentioned that Ibrahim lived in the area between Bir Saba in the south, in the desert, and the area of Hebron, here, El Khalil, or Kiryat Arba'a, the village of the four. And it does not mention a lot of stories about how Ibrahim alayhi salam he lived, but it comes to the story of the death of Sarah. The first person who was buried in the cave is Sarah alayhi salam. So Ibrahim alayhi salam purchased the cave from the locals of Al Khalil. And then he buried Sarah in the cave. Then he joined her after his death, and of course his son, his elder son Ismail, and his mother Hajar, they lived in Mecca. So they are not included in our story, and we had no clue about their places because of the Saudis. Yes. So the only historical places that we can find only in Palestine, the history of Islam. So we know about Ishaq alayhi salam. He joined his father because he's continued living here in Palestine, and his wife, the wife of Ishaq, is Rebecca. Rivka, Ishaq. Rivka, Ishaq. Now I will mention how the order of the markations, these are markations. Now I'll come to the whole story, how they are buried, what are the meaning of these marks. Then the son of Ishaq is Yaqub. That Yaqub migrated to Egypt following his son Yusuf, who became the minister of the king of Hyksos, not the pharaohs. So before the death of Yaqub, he asked his son to be buried and to join his forefathers. That also mentioned in the Bible, in the Torah, no mention in the Quran. But to us, it's an information. It will not affect our belief. We accept it as information. So they brought him to join his father. He and his second wife, because Yaqub has two wives, because he has 12 sons, and they were the sisters, Rachel and Leah. He wanted married from Rachel, but the father gave him at night. It was too dark at that time. He had Leah, so he didn't like Leah. So he said, but I want to marry from Rachel. So he gave Yalla, together, both of them. You take both. At that time, in their Sharia, in their law, it was allowed to marry both the two sisters. So he married from Rivka, from Leah and Rachel. Leah is the mother of 10 of his boys and girls, and Rachel is the mother of Yusuf and Benjamin. Rachel is buried close to Bethlehem because it's mentioned in the Bible that she died on the way between Jerusalem and Hebron. You might ask, but how do we believe the Bible? It is not authentic. How can we be sure that they didn't change? Believe me, they will change the law, but not the stories, not the information. How does it matter if they were buried there or buried here? What's the difference if Yaqub's wife is named Leah or named Fatima? So they will change the law, because when they came to the Prophet ﷺ and they wanted him to judge one who had adultery, so he said, "What's written in your book?" They put a hand on the book, and then he removed the Jewish hand. It was said that it's stoning. It was written in their book at the time of the Muhammad ﷺ that who made adultery and he's married, he gonna be stoned. But they change it. So they changed the law, but of course they will not change the names because it does not make sense, and there's no need to change the names. So that's why we accept it as a history book. So we treat the Bible as a history, only history. So we know that Leah joined her husband Yaqub here, while Rachel is buried in Bethlehem. So yeah, good question. Why they changed? I said that story does not change. But why they changed the sacrifice? They said the sacrifice was of Ishaq, not Ismail, because that has implications. That has benefits for them. Like, for example, we don't accept the term Semitic. They use it everywhere. Semitic. We are the Semitics. There's nothing called Semitics. Because this they use the word Semitic against the other nation, because they said that Noah has 3 boys. One is called Sam, one is called Ham, and the other called Japheth. And then Noah, ma'adallah, he went drunk, and then he took off his clothes, and then Ham looked at him naked and laughed, but Sam covered him. And when he wake up, then he asked what happened. He said, the other boy said, Ham laughed at you, but Sam covered you. So Noah said, curse for Ham and his nation, and blessing for Sam and his seeds. So you see the message? The message is that the Jews who are from the seeds of Sam, as they claim, are all blessed, while the other nations from the seeds of Ham are all cursed. Of course, this is a fabrication of the Torah that we don't accept. We don't accept that the Prophet drank wine, and we don't accept that he did a cursing for the whole generation. That's not accepted. That's why they do change in the stories to fit with their plans. But normal story, like where he's buried, what is the names, they will not change it, as long it does not serve their idea, their future plans. Okay, so what?
Who do they say are Ham's descendants that are Quds?
We Ham descendants. The Ham's the Africans. Because what it's mentioned in the Bible, in the Old Testament, that when Noah cursed Ham, he said that you and your descendants gonna be slaves for Sam. That justify that the idea of the Talmud, that all the Semitic will be the masters of the whole the other people, and the Ham will be the slaves of the Jews. That's the idea. So they said the Semitics are the Middle Easterns, while the Ham are the African. Japheth are the Easterns, the Chinese and Indians and so forth. But it's all crap. So that don't use the Semitic term anymore. It's from the Bible. No proof for it, and we understand from the story how they use it. Anti-Semitic, anti-Battikh, nothing like this.
We're Semites and they use it against us.
Yeah, but there's no proof of Semitic. There's no. We are from Adam, and Adam from the soil. That's it. نحن من آدم وآدم من تراب. Just use that. So coming back to the story, so we have like three couples. They were buried in a cave, but that cave is 2 stories, two rooms. The first room and the upper room, not the upper room of Isa alayhi salam, the Last Supper. No. So from here, from that opening under the dome, you can see the light in the upper room, the upper level of the cave. So you can't reach the second level of the cave. I'm gonna mention it when we're speaking about when they try to penetrate and break into the chamber. So coming back to the story, so we spoke about the 3 couples. They were buried in a multi-layer cave, and that cave was encircled by a fortress. It was fortified place. And once you come down back to the bus, look to your left, and you see the massive construction, the building material. One of the stone is weighing hundreds of tons. I'm not joking, hundreds of tons, because it's 9 meter long, and like the thickness maybe 2 meters. So that massive wall was only a wall for a graveyard. That's it, graveyard. So this place known to be the oldest venerated graveyard in the world, dated to 4,000 years. Then maybe Before Christianity, because we know that the believers of Allah everywhere, every time, not all of them we know about. So this place was venerated all the time, and they use it as a prayer house. But the documented thing started in the Christian time when they mentioned, when a traveler came and he said that on top of the tomb of the patriarch Abraham and his seeds, they built a church. That was in the Byzantine period. This is what is being written. But the unwritten, there are many. So, Byzantine church. And when the Muslim came to the city, somehow, because the church was not in use, it became a masjid. And it lasted for, then the Crusader, after the Islam, another of 400 years, the Crusader invaded the city, the Franks, and they destroyed the minbar and the mihrab, and they changed the place into a church. And the remains of the Crusader work is still evident. This pair is of Crusader. This of Crusader. There, if you look there, if you go there at the corner, till now you can see an inscription in a Latin, and a Greek alphabets. It is a one who was here and he donated for. The Muslim did not remove it, which shows that they preserved history. So that's of Crusader construction of the basilica. Salah ad-Din liberated the Palestine, and he cleared the Masjid of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and he brought with him a minbar, the pulpit that was saved in Egypt, that was made by the Fatimid, the Shia, but because of the invasion of the Crusader, it was kept in Egypt, and it waited in Egypt for 100 years, till the Salah ad-Din managed to bring it here. So that minbar is 1,100 years old. That's the most ancient, maybe one of the most ancient in the world. Of course, it's the one in the Masjid al-Aqsa is replica. It's a copy. It's not original. Not original. But even the original one that was in Masjid al-Aqsa was younger than this. The one that was burned in 1969. So imagine that this is one that was 100 years even before Salah ad-Din. That one. And still in use. The Imam used it in Jum'ah. Coming after Salah ad-Din, they were the slaves who became knights, the Mamluks, and they decided to give more glory to the tombs. So they built these monuments. So they only monuments, the marcations. So the people, when they come, see the like to take pictures. I don't know if they take pictures at that time. No. But to at least to see something big, because if I'm saying that the tombs are underneath, no one will care. That's why they built that marcations. It's only marcations. The tombs are not exactly below. They are in a cave, which is like 15 meters below. So you can't reach it. No one can reach it. Has anybody managed to reach? Yes. In the Crusades, as mentioned in the Chronicles of a Crusader traveler, he mentioned that there was an earthquake and there was a crack in the big wall. Wow. It means that for centuries there was no gate, there was no known gate for the graveyard. No one know how to get into the graveyard. Well, of course, who dares to go to desecrate the tomb of Ibrahim alayhi salam? Many ask me, did anybody went there? The Muslim did not do it. It's not allowed to go there. These are the tombs, the prophets. So only the Crusader, he managed to go through the crack, and when he came to the lower level, he saw benches, and people were covered in linen and leaning to the wall. They were 3 men, as he mentioned, and then behind the wall there he saw that there is another people leaning to the mosquito. I saw the scorpion. Mosquito. Okay, so the ladies were. He came to the men's side. It was dark, of course. He did not describe the faces. He said that he saw people leaning with the linen covering their body, and and he tried to go to the other side behind the wall, and he had a scream from above saying, "Don't dare you go to the ladies' side. These are ladies." And he ran away. He was terrified. He ran away. He didn't go to the ladies' side. Huh? No, they were not alive. They were like sleeping. He mentioned the bodies. He saw the bodies. They were bodies, but they were like sleeping. Ghost? La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah.
This is from the Islamic perspective, or
No, that's mentioned in the Crusader writings.
so we believe that?
And
We believe that?
but we know that the Prophet bodies does not decay. Yeah, but no ghost. We don't have ghosts in Islam. No ghost. It's only in Harry Potter. No ghost. That's ghost. In the jinnis, if you say, "Oh, Wallahi, this place is full of jinnis," the jinnis are here, there. We have jinni inside. Everyone has a Satan in his body. The jinni is a Satan. Or yeah, but there's no jinnis are seated like us.
Yeah.
So forget this jinnis. And they were only mentioned in Sulaiman alayhi salam story. And because Allah Azza wa Jal gave the capacity for Sulaiman to use the jinnis. That's so because they are flame. Jinnis are flames. You can't touch it. They can't if they covered with linen, it will gonna be burned. So,
They can form into human bodies, right?
yes, that happened in the time of the Prophet Muhammad. Yeah, that transformed, and some of the Sahaba wanted to catch him, and he said that one of the Sahaba wanted to like rob him and catch him, and then Sahaba said, if you manage to quote that the jinni, everyone gonna see it, and he became like a human. That's mentioned in the hadith. So coming back to the story, don't make it long. So that crusade, he managed to sow the bodies, and then this place was not open and was closed only to the time of under the occupation. After 67, before 67, what about the Jews? The Jews claim that these people are their fathers. Ibrahim, Ishaq, Yaqub. They are not their fathers. These people, they have no fathers, no mothers. I don't know from where they came, but they are not their fathers, because most of the Jews are converts. They were the converts of the Khazar, in Poland, in the area of Poland, they convert. That's why they don't have relation with Ibrahim, Ishaq, Yaqub. And even though the idea that I want you to catch it is the tree of prophets, they are not part of the family of the prophets, because they left the prophet. They speak bad things about the prophets. So they are the bad boys, and they are outside the family. That's why they can't claim relation with the prophets. So, coming back to the story, the Jews were allowed to pray only at the seventh step. We came through stairs, that side. There was another stairs at that side, like parallel from the two sides. But at that stairs, the Jews were able to climb to the seventh step. So they were stopping at the seventh step. That's how the Muslim treated them. You don't deserve to go to visit Ibrahim, not Ishaq, not Yaqub. You stay outside. So what the Jews decided after 67, to revenge from whom? From the stairs. Really? So they blow up the stairs. And when they blow up the stairs, there was another crack. And they managed to get into the crack at night. There was between Isha and Fajr. It was small crack. So one of the commanders, he sent his daughter, 9 years old. It's mentioned you can find it in the internet. And he sent his daughter with a candle and with a pencil and a paper, and he asked her to draw whatever she can see. Imagine 9 years old a girl through a dark tunnel and with a lot of ghost stories. So she was terrified, and she managed to get only to the first layer, to the first level, which is the level that we can see it from here, the level of the light only, without coming down to the where the bodies are. So that's the only trials to come to the caves. Clear? By 1967 also, the Jews managed to occupy 30% of the masjid. But in 1994, when they committed the massacre of killing 29 persons here, you can find it right down in the Google, the massacre of the Ibrahimi Mosque, and you can find out a lot of details, a lot of blood splashed here and there. When they committed that massacre, they decided to have a committee of investigation. And in the investigation, which was done by Israeli judges, they decided that the only solution for the conflict is to take another 30% for the Jews. So now the Jews are controlling 60% of the compound, and the Muslim having 40% of the compound because of the massacre. So now how the place is divided. 355 days, that place, there's a place for the Jews, place for the Muslim. No, not 30, it's, no, because it's 20 days.
10 days.
10 days for every, 10 days, okay, let's make it easy. 10 days throughout the year. For example, coming to the Muslim, first day of the Eid al-Fitr, first day of Al-Adha, 27th of Ramadan, the first day of the Muslim calendar, the year, the birthday day of the Prophet, and that night journey. So there are 10 days that the whole area, the whole compound gonna be a masjid. And likewise, 10 days throughout the year, and there are a lot of Jewish holidays, the whole area gonna be synagogue. That's the arrangements that they did. The Israelis, they implemented that this all gonna be 10 days synagogue, then 10 different days, and 10 different days as a masjid. But 355 days throughout the year, the Muslim will have this area, Rifqa, Ishaq, and they have a window over Sarah and a window over Ibrahim.